maybe I'll pick on Justin first because he's the closest to me. But that conversation kind of sounded a little bit like what we might have had this time last year. Remember, we love to talk about startups. We love to talk about, and I'm not minimizing anything, but we were painting things, we were starting things, and things of that. It was kind of out in the clouds a little bit, but now it is a little more in the gut. Can we do both?
Oh, we have to do both, because I think the idea of social innovation and social enterprise is really where our society is going in the future, in the 21st century. So we saw how the internet and how Twitter and how all these social media innovations played such a major role in the aftermath of Ferguson and allowing people to connect and organize and make change happen in real time. So these social innovations are going to collide with efforts for social change, and I think that's what we're going to see over the next 5-10 years really take off and make things different.
Can we do both? Can we continue to have fun and do the messy work? I don't know. Am I off on to nothing here?
I think we have to. I think we're a diverse enough community. There will always be different pockets of us, whether we're a neighborhood that's struggling or a demographic group that's struggling, or a different way of categorizing ourselves. So we have to have those tough conversations, but we also have to be able to reflect on what we love about the communities that we work in and that we live in, and that without that balance, I don't think we're doing justice.
Well, I think there's this theory of the creative class, that there are these, innovative people, these professionals who you need, and there's a certain truth to that. There's definitely innovation, creativity, being on the cutting edge of technology is key for regional economic growth. But we, as a region, we need to make sure that wealth gets spread, that everybody has a function in the economy. You also need people who are going to run the restaurants. You need people who are going to take care of the streets. You need all sorts of different people to make a well-functioning society. So sometimes I fear we kind of, kowtow or worship, this creative class as everything. And I think we have to watch out for that, but recognize that they perform an important role, but everybody else performs important roles too. And we need this, in the way I look at it is we have the central corridor in St. Louis that I think is sort of taking off and booming with a lot of high tech and a lot of innovation and arts and other things. But that wealth needs to be spread north and south to the communities north and south.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of people have said that doesn't include everyone by any stretch. And that cuts across race as well.
Right, and I think there's a fear among people that, there's just one segment that's going to move ahead. And we, fortunately, according to my research, we don't really have the kind of hot market that's displacing low-income people from these communities. We still have an opportunity to grow, to gentrify, if you will, and not displace if we do it right. If we have policies in place to have affordable housing, to have job opportunities, we can do it right in St. Louis. And in some ways, we're lucky, right? We're not Seattle and New York, where they've already pushed a lot of the low-income and minority people out of many neighborhoods, right? Because they've just become too hot.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. Yeah, I've heard someone say you don't go to New York to make it. You go there if you've already made it.
That's right.
Anymore. Historians, we look back so we don't repeat our mistakes. Are we repeating mistakes right in front of our very eyes right now?
In some places we are. We have to learn that we don't have options. If not, there'll be another Ferguson. And it's up to us to make sure there aren't any more Fergusons. And we have the opportunity to make that happen. And the question is now, do we have the will to do it? That's the question. There's some individuals who don't, but I think there are more of us who have the will, but we can't rest. I think many people think it'll sleep, we'll go back to business as usual. But we can't let that happen if we're going to have a great St.
Louis. Do you give us your perspective on the same question? Are we repeating mistakes, or are we moving
I guess
in a
you
different
could say
direction?
I don't know if we could say we're repeating mistakes. I see history as being all about change. And we always say it's change over time. I focus on social activism, and I look at these movements over time. And I think one of the problems that we've had with we talk about the end of the civil rights movement happening in 1968, but the struggle didn't stop in 1968. That was just a date we chose when a lot of those legal barriers were destroyed, Jim Crow. But we can't stop organizing. And you always have to see this as a continuing struggle, and it has to keep going. It does not end. And I sometimes think that there was a vacuum after 1968 or after the 1970s with the Black Power movement, where there wasn't that real, we weren't in the street as much. And I think you have to always keep struggling. Now, the struggle changes. You know, you don't always have to be with a placard, but you can't stop the fight. The fight has to always go on, and always keep your eyes on the prize. You always have to fight. You always have to struggle, and you can never think that you've arrived, or if you've made, or you achieved your goals, because as we can see, we have not achieved those goals.
And I see you nodding. I mean, the struggle or the fight, I guess, maybe, is it always, as you said, doesn't always come with a sign, but it might be on that secure website you talked about where neighbors are having honest conversations with each other. Is that struggle sustainable?
I think the piece that I've really been interested in is that there is no one certain answer. There is no one silver bullet solution to this, but this continued conversation is so important. And the minute that people start to go back to business as usual, you know, let it die away, precisely to your point, I think that's really a huge issue. And I've been thrilled to see, at least on our very, you know, tiny corner of St. Louis, those conversations are still happening. The protests are not happening in our neighborhood, but we're still getting together, you know, regularly to think about what we need to be doing. Do we need a youth council in our neighborhood? What are the things that we can do to address this from a neighbor to neighbor level?
And when we say business as usual, I don't know, maybe some people, that's not a bad thing to some folks. Maybe business as usual, maybe comfort is the enemy here, like just kind of complacency. Regardless of what your station in life is, that's, even if we're talking about successful rally projects, successful art at the airport or whatever, maybe just comfort is the enemy.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. I think after the legal barriers were they knocked those out the way, people wanted to enjoy what they had achieved, and they got comfortable. And that generation, I think many of them are looking back right now and saying, okay, we didn't push the ball forward like we needed to. And so that's what got us where we are right now. For many people who want to go back to business as usual, things were probably fine for them as far as the economy, as far as business, as far as race issues. They probably didn't think that they existed, or maybe the things that we're trying to change were actually helping to protect them. But things have got to change, because I think the world can see now that there was a lot of inequity going on, and that's what we're fighting against.
Cakers, what are you going to do now that the cakes are not to be discovered? Where can we put a cake that you would like to visit?
Oh man, I would love to go to Build-A-Bear Workshop. That would be
Oh,
fantastic.
yeah, very good. Okay.
My answer for that.
We may have some pull there. I don't know.
Yeah.
The list goes on as far as cakes that, you know, or places that deserved cakes, but as far as, you know, what's next, I'm just going to go revisit some of these places, because there's a lot of museums and such things that I did not get to visit during my hunt.
This has changed you, it sounds like.
It has.
Yeah.
Fair? Okay. All right, guys, hang on. We're going to keep talking online just a little bit. That's when we'll get really honest. No more beating around the cake here. Stay tuned, .9net.org. Join us there. Thanks, everybody.